Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella.
Here.
Commissioner Hightower.
Here.
Commissioner Webb.
Here.
Commissioner Goss.
Here.
Mayor Butler.
Here.
Stand for the pledge. Pledge of allegiance.
Oh, that's right.
Get with it, Robert. Yep. Okay. Lead on.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No room for my legs.
Okay. Minutes of the regular meeting of October 23rd. Any addition or correction? If not, they will be approved. Minutes of the special meeting of November the 6th. If there's no addition or correction, they will be approved. Now, I believe we've got some young men here who look like they are Boy Scouts. And I'm sure that they're here for a purpose. Now, can somebody speak up and tell us what that is? Come right around here, young man.
Right at the mic. Looking good.
Okay.
Pull the mic down.
Okay. We're here today for a communications merit badge to complete the requirement to attend a city council meeting.
What's your name?
Noah Walters.
Oh.
Sir.
And you're getting what badge?
Communications.
Okay.
Okay, what troop are you with?
We're with 7042.
Okay, who is your sponsor?
We have a lot of sponsors. I know one of them is Odom Concrete. We got a few more.
Where do you hold your meetings at?
We hold them at Aldersgate Church.
Nice.
Right.
At Aldersgate?
Yeah. Yeah.
I assume that would be your sponsor then.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's our sponsor.
How many badges do you currently have?
I have 15.
15. How many more does it take to get Eagle Scout?
Well, there's 22 now, so yeah, 22.
You getting there?
Yeah, so 7-ish.
Okay, is your scoutmaster with you?
Not currently, but we have like a sort of assistant leader.
Okay, do you want to introduce us to him?
Sure. Seth Walters, my dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
Better introduce him.
Are you related to him?
Yes, he's my dad. Yeah.
What about
Okay,
What about the other young men?
very good.
We got more back there.
And we have a couple more young gentlemen here. You want to stay and give us your name?
I'm Zach Walters. I'm Tucker Ritz.
Okay.
Okay, what rank do you have?
Great nephew.
I'm Sergeant Scout.
I don't know. What's that?
I'm second class.
Yeah, that's up there.
Okay. Are you working on merit badges yet?
Still away from.
Okay, how many do you have?
10.
Pretty good. 10?
Yeah.
About
10.
halfway.
I've got around 16.
You're getting, how many do you have?
I have about 15.
How many?
15.
15. Do you still have to have 21 to become an Eagle?
22 now.
Yeah.
2?
Okay, well, that's good. All right, do you have any question you want to ask us?
No, sir.
Mayor, you was an Eagle Scout, right?
Oh, you shouldn't have said it. No, okay, tell us about you only had to have 5 badges when you were Eagle Scout.
Alex, it always has been.
Why did you bring that up?
If you could say the scout oath, you were an Eagle Scout back then. Okay.
You say,
That's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
you don't want to know.
No, Gavin just made a remark. You don't want to know.
Were you an Eagle Scout, John?
No, I was Boy Scout. I got the same as him. I was live.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we certainly appreciate your being here, and we hope that maybe you'll get what you need from the city council.
Great, thank you, sir.
Good job.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else now before we get to the regular course of business? Yeah.
I've come back to bother you again. Thank you. And I got your tickets.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
I'm Bill Shanks with the Marion Rotary, and I come back to put a little pressure on the City Council and also report our status of our fundraiser for the first responders. We're having a dinner concert at Cocopelli on December 2nd, and we currently have 170 people in attendance, and we have room for the City Council and for them to bring a guest. And we'd love to have you. We've got a table that we can set you right next to the first responders table. And I brought tickets tonight, and I'll stick around if you want to buy any. Talk to you after the meeting. The event, although it's a fundraiser for the first responders, we have already raised the money. The night of the event is just going to be a nice sit-down dinner with a concert. And the concert, we're really... The meal, including taxes and gratuities, is around $55. You're getting an hour-and-a-half concert for $20. It's a real nice event with dinner music, violin and cello, 30-minute grand piano and oboe performance, and an hour country music. All the performers have performed professionally, and so it's really a concert that we encourage people to come. Not the fact that we want to raise money at the event, because we're really not. It's just such a nice opportunity for people to take advantage of here locally in Cocopelli. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be here afterwards for tickets if you want them.
I'm sure all the commissioners will want to buy at least 2 tickets.
Yeah. They take a bad check.
Oh, maybe more, I don't know. Okay, anyone else now? Okay. We'll go to the agenda. Tell us about the property tax projection for the 2017 tax levy.
Sure, I think you have all your material in regarding that. Before I do the projection, there's a couple of things I want to do. First of all is, before the fire and police pensions may request what they would like to see the city council levy, they're required to do a required reporting to the municipality for each pension fund. And if you go and if you come and flip back a few pages, you'll see the first one. It says required reporting, and that actually says in the title, required reporting to municipality by pension board. And I just want to go over a couple of key numbers with you so you can, when you have time, then you can look at the rest of it. The first one is the fire pension. And to let you know that the total fair market value of assets, and this was at 4/30/17, was $10,324,650. Of that amount, they have unfunded and they have a liability that is greater than that by the amount of $4,914,551. Or in other words, they are 68.55% funded. The fire pension fund is. And for last year, from May 1 to 4/30/17, they earned an investment rate of 6.78%. Is what they earned. They're in their investment policy. They shoot for, and in their actuarial report, they shoot for a 6.75%. So they met their investment goal in the prior year, and that's what they're currently at. Like I said, you have time attached to their report. You'll see a listing of all the assets which are held within the pension fund. Both the pension funds have money managers. Both of them use PNC Bank out of St. Louis, Missouri, for their pension investments. And then I'll show you. The next one will be the police, and I'll just go over a couple of quick numbers with you there too. Let me find it here. The police pension is a little bit bigger. It had total assets of $11,633,456. Its unfunded amount is larger than the fire. It's at $8,779,388, and the percent that it is funded is also lower. It's at 56.99% funded. So it's about, 7 points less than what the fire pension is. On the good side, their investment rate that they assume is 6.75 again as fire, but last year they made 9.78%. And the reason they were able to make 9.78% and the fire only 6.78 is the fact that once a pension fund reaches $10 million, then they're allowed by state statute to put more into equity. Well, with the police pension being a little bit larger than the fire, they hit that $10 million threshold before the fire did. So they had a greater opportunity to invest more in equities last year than what the fire pension did. And that resulted, therefore, with the markets doing so well, that resulted in them earning a higher rate than what the fire pension did.
So the greater your assets, the more flexibility you have.
Exactly.
And also, by the year 2040, both pension funds have to meet the 90% threshold.
Right, now, right.
Target to do that for.
Right, which leads to the next thing I want to talk about. The way our actuarial computations are not based upon the 90% now. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board, when they issued their pronouncement number 68 regarding pension funds, they dictated a 100% funding versus a 90% funding. Okay, therefore our actuary, in order for us then to be able to keep at a rate with for our audits, he based our recommended levy based upon not a 90% but a 100%. And that's why a couple of years ago when we implemented GASB 68 that we saw an increase in our in the recommended amount by the actuary. So we're at 100% actually versus 90%. Even though the statute says 90%, we're shooting for 100% funding.
Now the state, of course, it's well publicized how bad they are as far as underfunded.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Where do we relate to them? I'm sure we're doing much better. But
yes, without question. Without question we are.
With that though, as far as the state, are they 50, 40%? I know they're probably lower than us, but yeah.
I have no idea what the state would be funded.
Well, it depends on what fund you
Like
take something like
Right.
IMRF.
You have something like IMRF, they are actually probably 85, anywhere between 80 and 90% funded.
Yeah.
The city would be.
And a thing to point out here is, until the Governmental Accounting Standards Board changed their formula a few years ago, our our rate was better. I know the fire was 72 or 3% funded, and the police was like 68. They changed those, and it dropped them back.
Yeah, it does. It does have an effect on that too, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if, we hope they don't, for what, ever reason, change their formula again, because, it just, and we have no say in it, but it kicked our pension boards back. I mean, I think they're well on their way to the 100% funding by 2040, but it just takes you people, you accountants, one swipe of the pen to send us the other direction.
Yeah. Well,
That's a question.
and the reason we do that.
Fully funded.
Yeah, and the reason we...
If ever.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason we switched in and said, okay, we will try to fund according to the GASB pronouncement is the fact is, if we don't, then what happens is our liability on our financials will just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now the rating agencies, one of the items that they are looking at, now since all governmental units have to report pension liability, one of the things the rating agencies are looking at now, how big is your pension liability? And how do you expect to pay that liability that's sitting out there?
Okay, the way it's set up now, what is our tax levy going to be?
Okay, the levy is, what the actuarial recommended for the police was $1,117,351. If you recall last year, the recommendation was $1,103,000, okay? However, we cannot levy more than what is in
The appropriation.
And also, too, it was a huge jump. The jump was like from 700 and some odd thousand up to that. So last year we funded it by the police by $1 million. Okay, so what I'm recommending is we're at one, instead of doing the one, trying to get up to that 1,117,000. Let's just, leave the 100,000 there. We'll just have to, for right now, and just raise it and keep it within 100,000, since we're up so high anyway, and leave it at, and then just raise it $17,351. In other words, he's recommending $1,117,000. Let's just do $1,017,000. And because that's what his recommended is, according to him, what the state would require is only $777,000. So we are well above what the state would require us to do. Granted, if we did what the state said, a council just a few years from now would be, it would be a huge disaster.
Trouble.
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay, now what does this translate to as to the actual tax rate?
Okay, well, let me get to the fire first. The fire then, last year we did $650,800, which is what the actuary recommended. Okay, this year he's recommending $673,801, or only a $16,000 increase.
Yeah, but the tax rate, is this 50 cents, 100 assessed evaluation, 55 or what?
Okay, once we do that, and once we do the recreation, then keep it the same. Okay, if the levy last year, the equal assessed evaluation was $316,182,759. So I basically said it's going to stay stagnant, there's going to be no growth. Based upon that, I used $317 million.
Yeah.
Okay, based upon that, the rate would be 0.57765. Okay, compared to last year was 0.56858. Now, however, just a 2.1% increase in the EAV would wipe out that increase altogether. And last year we had an increase in the EAV of 2.94.
Well, if our evaluation goes up, then the possibility of the rate staying the same.
Could actually stay the same. And depending, if it went up past 2.1%,
Yeah,
you could actually see your rate go down
okay.
from last year.
And then that will be reflected, of course, in the tax bill.
And that'll be reflecting the tax bill, yeah. But even at the 17, even at my very conservative number, basically saying it's not going to change. A house with a value of $100,000 would have an increase in property tax of $4.
How much?
$4 would be an increase.
All of $4?
Yes.
The whole year. So, what, 33 cents a month?
$1,000 house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, when's the new EAV announced?
We won't get our final figures until May, is when they because, once they get it done here, then they have to send it up to the state. And then once they get it back from the state, then they will send it out to us, for us to look at it, and for us to review it, and then for the mayor to sign off and send it back.
But we're already in our new budget year by then, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is actually, between the time we levy and the time that we actually get the monies, we're in a totally different year.
But it'll catch up and reflect in next year's projections.
Yeah, well, what will happen, what we assess now, we will collect in our 4/30/19 fiscal year, is when it will be collected.
Also, it's important to know that comparatively speaking, the school district levies a far bigger, levy than we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like 64%.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, but I overall, I'm even keeping everything just on the dollar increase, we're looking at a 1.86% dollar increase.
So, and I know we're not voting on it tonight, but
No.
your recommendation would be the 57765.
Yeah, we actually do, what you're actually going to estimate tonight, and then when we need it in the formal records, you will estimate the dollar amount, which is $1,831,152.
And then that gives you your rate.
Yeah, you will actually estimate the dollar amount, and then 2 weeks from tonight, even though we're not required to because we're under 5%, we'll still have a public hearing at 6 o'clock, and then with the regular council meeting, then you'll be able to pass, if you so wish, you'll be able to then pass the levy formally.
Public hearing's not necessary because we're not going to get to the 5%.
Right, the 5% is based upon prior year's extended tax, but I always like doing the 5%, always doing the public hearing, because it then does give the public a chance to come out, and that way, if something would happen down the road, and we would need to do something with debt service or whatever, it's just a safe harbor, too.
And there's truth in taxation, too.
Yeah, truth and taxation.
Right.
But the principal part of our tax levy goes to pensions.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, if the council, as the council knows, all of our bonds, which could be subject to levy, we abate all those bonds and pay it out of sales tax.
Right. Yeah.
And that is a considerable amount. We're talking a few million there.
A million.
Yeah, exactly. That we pay out of our sales tax.
And we don't burden the taxpayer.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly.
Good point. So your recommendation is for the city to approve $1,831,152.
Yes, yeah. And all we're doing tonight is they'll vote on it to estimate it. And that's what we estimate it to be.
And that will be my motion.
Because
You don't pass it tonight.
because once we do that, you have to estimate, and you can't pass anything then until 20 days after the estimate is made.
Right.
So I'm saying it'll be next meeting, it'll be the following meeting then. Yeah, on the first one in December.
Projection.
Yeah, it'll be the first one in December.
Estimate now.
Yes.
Yes, but we gotta do the estimate now, though.
That'll be my motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Perhaps the motion to approve the projection would be in order.
Yes.
And that's all it is projection. We're not
That's right.
establishing the levy.
No, not at all, no.
Motion.
Second.
I got a motion, we got a motion. and a second.
Second, call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Butler?
Yay. Okay.
Number 2, I see Brent out there. I'll let him handle that.
We got
You're up. Batter up.
all things up. Yes, we've got, we need to approve the.
Talking about relining part of the sewer system.
Yeah, I'm here tonight for something else, talk about GIS mapping system, but the one thing on the agenda that we have for our department, we had budgeted this year a major maintenance item to reline an aeration tank line. There's an air line that feeds the air underneath the tank, and it is leaking very badly, and we're getting water in the system, and it's causing a lot of operational problems. We had to do the exact same thing a few years back to another basin that's very similar, exactly like it. The cost back then was $35,000 to do this work. We actually had a lot of trouble even getting a contractor to come down to do the work. We finally got a guy out of Chicago agreed that, yeah, his product would work in the system, and it's worked fine ever since, but he charged a lot of money to get down here. We've got a local contractor now doing the same work, Scuda Construction, Kevin Scuda, and I talked with him about the project. He can do all the lining and all the other cutting and welding on the pipes that needs to be done for $17,500. That's the bid. I didn't even bother going to St. Louis or Chicago or anywhere else to get another price. I know we can't beat it. So that's the motion, or I guess we need a motion to pass that.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Butler?
Okay, what's the update on the GIS?
Okay, and this, I guess Terance and Angelo met on this and realized that we've got a pretty good product here with a map of our sewer system, our sanitary sewer system. And we do. This has been a long time coming to get to this point. I think 4 years ago, probably, you and I went to Winn Lake College and took a little one-day course on GIS mapping, and obviously Terance just fell in love with it, and I recognized the importance of what it can do. So it's been about that long since we've started thinking in terms of how we're going to map our sewer system. I think that the cemetery did a lot of mapping of the graves and things like that, and it's been very useful for people. This is a similar thing. We're trying to track our assets in the city, all of our manholes, all of our sewer lines. Probably a little bit more complicated than anything else anybody's done, but I realized that we had Terance on board, who's got the technology background. We've got William Barrett, has a background in GIS. We've got Claire Ziegler, obviously does a lot of our engineering surveying for us. We've all partnered together and started in mapping or doing surveying of the system. Brian, we started years ago doing all the utilities, and we were going to take it slow. We were going to budget so many thousands of dollars a year, and we knew this was going to be a long-term project. So we thought, well, if we don't get started, we'll never get done. We did that for a couple of years, I think. Ryan, is that right? And then some things came about with some of the requirements I've got in my permit from the EPA that are saying, hey, you've got to start doing a better job controlling infiltration and inflow into your sanitary sewer systems. You got to stop some of the leaks, some of the overflows in the roads. And one of the things that they feel are very important is having a database of what you're doing. So not only is this map an actual map that the guys can use to locate utilities or anything like that, we can also put information into this map with regards to how often are we maintaining lines, where is a manhole XY coordinates, how deep is it, what's it made out of. We can attach other information as far as maintenance. We can attach videos of the lines, which is really our only way to find like the condition of the line. I mean, you drive down a road, you know a road's bad, everybody knows it, you're falling off in potholes and things like that. The only way to really know what's going on underground is to get in and take a video of it, look at it. Outside of a complete failure of the system, then obviously we know that, but we don't really want to wait that long before we know what's going on. So with that said, the EPA requirements, we went in full force, I guess, last summer, contracted with Claire Ziegler to basically go through the entire city with what was remaining, survey it, get XY coordinates, get depths, get type of material, which led us to this map that we've got here now. And it's still a work in progress. We're still having to go in and connect dots and things like that. Still got a little bit more work to do. But the map is, I guess I would want to call it 95% complete. Viewable on the city's website. I guess anybody can view that, right, Terance? Is there a public view?
There's a public view, but there's a private view.
Okay. Our view allows us to access it and make edits to it and things like that, apply information to it. So did everybody get a copy of the map, the booklet? Did you get one, Mayor? Or?
Yes. Not sure.
I've got one extra.
I think it may be under his,
It's on the bottom.
yeah.
It's a little hard to tell exactly what's going on with this. I think next year in Terance's budget, we're going to budget for an 80-inch flat screen TV so we can see things going on up here. But I think if you look closely here, this first page, I think we're all in order. I guess the green, I'm colorblind, and I may mess up colors here, don't think I'm silly, but the dots look like some of our manholes. That's where the manholes are located. It looks like this is an area that's around the square down Main Street and the surrounding area. Each structure has a unique ID, so we can identify it, we know exactly what it is. And then there's a lot of information that goes along with that. A few things listed here are just basically the elevation of the, looks like the invert elevation is how deep the sewer line is.
What's the cost of all of this?
Well, it's not cheap.
I know it's not cheap, that's why
We're probably into the, I'm going to guess, around $250,000 possibly.
where is that money coming from?
The money comes from our operating budget. I mean, we've had the money to do this. And I'm glad you pointed that out because it is a very expensive project. The results from it, though, are forever. We are getting away from paper maps. They're very cumbersome. We got guys carrying around these big paper maps. They're not accurate. They're going to files to try to find subdivision maps. Everything is going to be included in this one map, and we're going to have it forever. And like I said, it's not just a map. It's not just like you're going out and buying a road atlas. You're buying a place to store information forever. We're going to have videos. We've already got, I think Terance even had a little bit of bullets here. We've uploaded 107 videos already. We did some of those through contract video, and the guys, I mean, our camera we bought last year was $100,000. We might as well put it to good use. They're constantly videoing lines to mainly detect problems that we're getting to see what's going on inside the line. All those can be uploaded to the map. And they're there forever. We'll have a record that we videoed it in the summer of 2017. This is the condition of the line.
You're suggesting that this will bring the city into the 21st century?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, that's the case. I mean, probably the other departments, the water department for sure, will want to do some work with identifying where valves are at. Because, we're passing, we've got, and I've had some guys that are really embracing this. I mean, they want to get it done. They want to go out and find the lines that were hidden, because when we first went through, we realized we had manholes that were buried. Those manholes are buried, these guys know where they're at, some of them. If these guys retire, which a few of them are a few years from that, in the future, nobody's going to know where that manhole is. We're getting our camera in, we're detecting where they're at, we're uncovering them, we're bringing them up to level, getting the GIS or the GPS information on it, and storing it forever. So we can always walk right back out to a place, even if it's got 3 feet of dirt on it, find where that manhole is and be certain it's in that location.
Council authorized the expenditure of this money?
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
How many manholes we have, Brent, you know?
Okay. Well, I always use the number 2,500, and he's got 2,413. I'm sure that came from the map. You can probably pull information like, hey, count all the manholes. I always remember 120 miles of gravity mains. Looks like we're at 109 here. Like I said, the map is not 100% complete. But as, like Terance says here, it's like driving from Marion to St. Louis, that's how many miles of sewer line we've got in Marion. And much of it, is new, but some of it's very, very old too. So it's important to start the process of figuring out where is our worst sewer lines at, where what's going on with this. And if you don't have a place to put information, you're just spinning your wheels. So the whole thing has come about slowly, but like I said, if we wouldn't have done anything 40 years ago, we wouldn't be anywhere now. We've made great strides in this. He's even got a picture of a section of a video, I guess, on the very last page that shows the condition of looks like a clay tile line.
Well, I tell you, this is fantastic, and you're to be commended for the work you're doing.
Well, like I said, it was my idea. As far as the actual work being done, I mean, it's Terance, William, Claire Ziegler's done much of it. We partnered with Horner Schiffer, and they're hosting the map. They do a lot of work, and they've been very helpful coming down. And my guys, Rick, Joe, those guys have all taken a big hand in this and tried to make this happen. I've been very fortunate. We had a guy retire a few years ago, Wayne Fossey, that's come back, and we didn't want to bring him back in the capacity of anything that was going on, so this fit perfectly into what he could do. He has sat down and labeled unique identifiers for each of these manholes and processed a lot of information that goes from us to Terance and William to Horner Schifrin. There's a lot of people involved in making it happen. So like I said, it's my idea, and I know it needed to be done. But definitely, I'm not the one doing the work. It's the rest of the guys.
We certainly thank you so much for the update. It's very informative.
This $100,000 camera that they purchased last year, on many occasions when they're doing storm sewer work, we found chlorinated water, which has led us to water main breaks.
Yeah, we've helped the water department. There's several different occasions, I guess, find water leaks.
So, I mean, this is...
Money well spent.
Yeah.
It's also, the street department split the cost of it. I got to give them credit for, they paid for half of that camera, and they're using it for the storm sewers.
Right.
The storm sewers are, very similar to sanitary, just a little cleaner.
I want to commend.
Sometimes.
I commend you on having the wisdom to follow the lead of the cemetery department.
Yeah, there's a pretty funny story with how the cemetery department got going.
Keep coming up with ideas.
I commend you on having to follow us.
I think
We just have to have good leadership.
Yeah, 15,000 graves now marked that we know where grandma is. And like you say, it's money well spent, Brent.
It is.
And
We've done away with our paper maps. You want to know where anybody's buried, we can tell you exactly. And we'll be able to do it from now on.
That's exactly right. And we're gonna be able to tell you where every structure is in Marion and things about that structure.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would say the other departments will probably follow suit at some point because it's needed. The existing staff is going to be
you said
gone
it there. I mean, you're talking about manhole covers.
Yeah.
We in the water department, valves that shut off water.
Yeah.
And what was unfortunate many, many years ago, you had personnel that had it up here. They never wrote it down.
Right, and they're gone.
And they're gone.
Yeah.
And for us to come back there, once you get done and start doing that, some of our biggest concerns for the future of this city is underground.
It is. Yeah.
It's not on top. We can make.
It's where the money's going to be spent in the future.
That's right. I mean, we
guarantee you
make
that.
things look aesthetically pleasing to the city on top of the ground, but our biggest concern is starting to reline these old clay tile sewer lines and stuff like that, and
Yep.
there's going to have to be monies involved here, and it's going to be costly.
Yep, they're old.
Point.
And like I said, this is the very beginning of it to try to figure out, what we've got and what condition it's in, so. Okay, if there's any more questions.
Thank you much, young man. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Okay. What's this about the installation of B2 Building and Street Department?
We have a building down there that we've had in the budget, and we do have the money for it, or you ask, to insulate one of our buildings. I thought it's B12, what is that number?
B2.
B2. And we have two bids come in. One was $22,425. The other was $500 higher at $22,934. The low bid came from Comfort Zone in Marion. It's my motion to accept low bid at $22,425.
I'll second that.
It's a foam spray, 2-inch insulation. There you are, next page.
Okay.
We'll save that much on utilities without any question.
So, your motion is that we go with the Comfort Zone cellulose insulation?
Yes, sir.
Got a motion? Is there a
Second.
Second, call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, what's this about the traffic signals?
Well, we're in the process of adding the preemption controls on our traffic signals. I'd like to have Doug and maybe Terance go ahead and update you on it. I know where we are, but they use all the technical terms.
We'd like to give you an update on, since the start of this program on the preemption, it's been used over 1,200 times we've got one in a police car, we've got one in a fire truck, and one in a Lifeline ambulance. And over the course, since we started this, it's been used over 1,200 times. And so far, we just have it at 3 intersections, which would be Court and DeYoung, Russell and DeYoung, and Carbon and DeYoung. We've had a great response from the departments that are using this. The fire department just recently ordered another preemption for the other fire truck. And we've been giving our reports to IDOT as we're supposed to, and it shows that it's working. It shows when the preemption is used and when it's turned off, when it's at fault, and very few faults. And it shows even if there's two cars using it coming in two different directions, it will show us when that is working. The car the first time in the intersection, first one in the intersection gets the preemption, and if that second car is over 1,500 or 1,800 feet behind, it'll preemption again, if that car is set for preemption. So it's working well.
Okay,
Now,
do you have a motion?
yes, I would make a motion that we approve the additional preemption traffic signals.
Now, Doug, why don't you explain where those new devices are going
Yeah, we're
and why?
well, IDOT is doing a study on new Route 13, DeYoung Street. So we have 3 of them out there so far, which we were allowed to put out there for the use, to study it. We're going to do West Main now, Boynton and Court and West Main, and update some of our preemption on the other route. And while they're doing that study, because we already have 3 on the preemption on new Route 13 that is working presently, we didn't use all of our funding from when it was first approved for the preemption. So the street department's going to outfit the vehicles that the departments buy, and Terance's department, we're going to do a one-time
installation of a box, and then his department will take over from there.
Updating programming.
Updating and programming, yes, and we will take care of installing the equipment in there. We done the installation of the equipment last time, so.
Doug, will you have to involve IDOT on this next go-around? Do they have jurisdiction, or is it all ours?
No, these are ours here.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
We just got to make sure we keep IDOT informed with every month. Every month they require us to give them a monthly report.
Right.
Even if it's on jurisdiction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, these are under TIF funds already approved,
yes.
but there's a light at Russell and Maine that's not in the TIF that you plan to take care of internally,
Yeah,
out of our budget.
the only one would be, like I said, Russell
That
and
Russell Street going
West
down
Main and
West
Russell
Main. That's
would be,
in the TIF,
we're going to
so
see if we
can't pay
can,
it out of the TIF, but we have one that we will take care of.
that would be the one that's not in the TIF funding that we would try
Okay.
to.
You know, it'd be
to
okay.
fund
Okay.
to complete the run through there on
Yeah, it'll
preemption.
be straight shot.
Yes.
Okay,
You got something?
All right.
we have a motion.
No other question?
I'll second.
Motion made. Second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
No.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler?
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. There's a little bit of a problem here. Ron Ferguson, who is chairman of the Boynton Street Board, felt that the board had not been brought into consideration of what we're talking about here. And he thinks that we're trying to disregard the Boynton Street Board. So I don't know if they have suggestions they want to make or criticism or what, but it seems to me that we need to schedule a meeting with them for their input before we adopt this.
Well, and Mayor, you and I met with the Boynton Street Board several months ago, and the direction from the Boynton Street Board, the members that came, and yourself, was for Stephanie and I to meet and formulate a job description
When was that?
for this position. You and I met with the Boynton Street Board like 2 months ago.
Well,
At
he
Boynton
was
Street.
considerably upset because he said they hadn't brought into the loop.
Well, if you recall, we met at Boynton Street, and there were 4 members there of the board. And their description and what they wanted was to have someone to run their after-school program that was a qualified person. And we have been advertising as
Yeah, I
direction.
know, I appreciate all that, but they felt they should have had a sit-down to discuss the program.
And Stephanie has received this and was supposed to disperse it among her board members.
Yeah, Stephanie is one thing, but I'm talking about the board. They're concerned because they haven't had input in this, so they say. And they say, why are we a board if we don't have any input in something like this?
I mean, we can table this. Our goal, as you had said,
I
was
think
to...
that would be advisable. I think we need to
That's fine.
table it.
The only thing it does is delays the program.
Well, that's okay.
And their concerns.
It's all right. If it is delayed and we get peace, right now, things are a little bit in turmoil.
Well, I said, this was one of those things that was recommended from them.
So we'll table that for the time
We never
being.
did hear back from Stephanie as,
Stephanie and I did this together.
Well, now, see, Stephanie is the director, but it is the board.
Well, but when the board said, you guys
policy.
come up with a job description, that's what we did.
And they are the ones that feel they've been left out. So
it looked like we came
it's
up with
necessary, I think, to have Stephanie sit down with the board and,
Well, they're supposed to be doing
Go
that
from
this
there.
week.
yeah, I think let's do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, what's this about setback 5-yard variance?
You have the code enforcement report.
Do we have anything on that?
You have the report.
It's in
here's
your
your
book.
report.
Yeah, I have some comments over here on this, so.
She added that later. Yeah, you
I got it.
Mayor, if you remember, and this has probably been 6 years ago, Mr. Gribble came to us on this property that when it rained real hard, it was flooding the garage of his adjoining property. And I think Steve Green even sent a letter to Mr. Binkley. And if, Lance, if you want to address the council, you can, but actually nothing has probably ever been done except grass has grown in that area, which probably prevented a lot of the mud from coming there. His concern is with the building of these apartments, where's this water going to go? He most definitely doesn't want it going on his property. And the city has an ordinance 1031, and in that ordinance it says, new development will not change the flow of flood or other surface drainage water so that other properties may become more susceptible to damage. And that's exactly what you addressed in your letter. I'm not against the apartments. Lance is not against the apartments, but I think before we issue a building permit to Mr. Binkley, that in his building plans, he shows us how he's going to divert that water away from the property to the south on Washington Street. Is that right, Lance?
That is correct.
I don't think he's not against the apartments. I mean, Lance owns apartments. I mean, he's not against it. He just wants to make sure that, once you build a piece of property, where's that water going to go? And he doesn't want it going to his property.
Yeah.
And that's the natural flow.
Well, here we're talking about requests for a 5-foot side yard setback variance on the east side of the property.
Yep.
Okay, now how is that going to affect the flow of water?
Because with that variance, he's going to ask for a building permit to build apartments.
Lance, he was.
No, Lance isn't. Yes, yeah.
The issue is not the variance, and my name is Lance Gribble, and
Yes.
I own the property at 807 North Washington. The issue when I came up here 6.5 years ago is that he dumped about 50 to 75 loads of dirt in this vacant lot, and that's when the flooding started. I had owned the property since '04 and had never had any water in the garage, and then this happened probably were around 2010 or 11. And of course I came and addressed the city and had the concern and talked about the ordinance 1033, and then I think there was a letter sent out by Steve, and to my knowledge there was not any response from Mr. Binkley. So now it's kind of like the time has went by and now we've forgot about the original issue, which was 50 to 75 loads of dirt dumped in and fill that amounted to probably 1.5 feet in areas, and that's when it created the flooding. My issue is I just don't want it to flood my garage anymore. It still has happened about 6 times when the tenants let me know. But now we're talking about adding a structure, so that's going to limit the options he has to divert the water, and that is my concern. I believe it or not, I don't have a concern with the apartment or the variance. I'm not here to argue that, but he has not done one thing to remedy the flooding into my garage. And my concern is if what I would like the council to do is, as part of the building permit, request him to show what he's going to do to minimize the water getting onto me after the dirt was placed. That's really where the issue began, not with, and I'm sure that this is going to affect it also because there's going to be less area after the building's built.
What's going to be the distance between the property line and the building?
His back property line, or on this variance, or his building? I went to the zoning meeting the other night. I mean, I don't know, somebody had a picture. It looked like there was about 70 foot from his building to my property line.
Okay, anybody got any question or comment?
I think, he's not against the variance. I think it's that we can grant the variance, but I think,
Some extra scrutiny is at hand.
extra scrutiny is at hand, and I think we need to go on record as a council, or I most certainly will as a council person being, at that meeting 6 years ago, and saying that, before we grant him a building permit, within that permit, he has plans for the diversion of water away from the property.
But who's going to approve his plan that has the elevation? We going to have Claire Ziegler, or how's he going to?
However he comes up with it.
Yeah, that's on him.
You can say you're going to do it. That doesn't mean when the range you haven't done it.
That's why I'm up here, Mr.
But I'm saying we need to have somebody that knows the elevation and drainage.
I would agree with that statement. Yes, I would.
Well,
But the real issue is the dirt 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So much more than the building.
Well, they have to get that corrected, I would think.
Well, and I understand what you're saying, but here at the same time, we actually have nobody down there now that can read a building plan.
Brian does.
Brian didn't have, well,
He has as much as Jim did.
well,
He can do it.
he may, but
Well, I would just like.
is he or is he not?
He is.
Is he? Really?
Yeah, he's reviewing.
But irregardless of the matter, I think whether we have anybody down there qualified to do building plans or not, I think he needs, before we issue him a building plan, show, and I think it's on him to do it. I don't think it's on the city. It's on him to do it, to show us how he's going to divert water away from the property.
My suggestion would be to table the variance until you see what his building plans are.
So at this point in time, you're suggesting that we not allow the setback variance?
I think Steve had a good point.
I'm suggesting we table this until we know what his plans are. Maybe the variance wouldn't be necessary if we knew what his plans were, or if we're not going to approve them.
Well, if it isn't necessary,
Right. And
then there's no reason to take it up.
Well, his variance is probably,
It's just going to put it 5 foot closer to his own house that he owns. That's all the variance is.
Yeah.
He's going to, my understanding is that he's going to establish a new property line. He owns from the front of Washington Street to that back alley.
Yeah.
And there's a vacant lot in behind his original home, and that's the lot that he filled in 6.5 years ago that created this issue that we are here now.
the variance is only
That's
going
my
to...
point. If you don't give him the variance, this is another ordinance that we can enforce if he chooses to go forward without a building permit. I'm not suggesting that he would, but we did send him a letter. It was ignored. So I'm suggesting maybe we table this, ask him to submit the plan so that, code enforcement and our engineers can look at it and make a determination.
Now you're cooking. I agree with that. I think somebody like the engineer should verify that the drainage problem is solved.
Right.
Lance, do you think there's a way to drain if the dirt's not taken out, or?
That's what I requested when I came up here 6.5 years ago.
To take the dirt back out?
Take the dirt back out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now he's going to need that dirt for his apartments, right?
I would assume.
But
I don't know. I sure don't want any additional dirt left after he digs footings, but I just don't want any more water on me.
Okay.
And when you talk about putting a structure on this existing lot, now you've minimized the opportunity you had to correct the original problem, and by adding a structure onto the lot that he put all the fill dirt in.
I assume
The real issue is
suggesting not
the
to
dirt
take
that was
action
dumped in there.
until we find out about the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the plan for taking care of the water?
Right.
All we can do is find.
Right.
Okay.
I understand.
I guess we better leave it there.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Hub Recreation Center. What do we got, Chris?
Good evening, Council, Mayor. We've got some higher recommendation requests There are actually two part-time recommendations, and then one full-time that's listed as underneath that part-time, but it's showing as full-time on the agenda. We've got a part-time recommendation of Ray Cagle for part-time basketball instructor at $20 an hour. And we have Caitlin O'Neill for part-time front desk at $9 an hour and part-time cafe at $9 an hour.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
Be my motion to approve the hirings of the above-mentioned employees at the ascertained rates.
I'll second.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Okay, and our full-time hire recommendation for maintenance, actually identified specifically as janitor, at $8.50 an hour is Clay Walker, and that's a budgeted position for replacement of full-time position for some shifts for weekend and weekday coverage. That's Clay Walker for a full-time position for
Is that a
maintenance. for
replacement or a new hire?
It's a replacement of existing hours and shifts that we're covering with current staff
A
now.
new employee, replacing an employee, or is this a new employee?
New employee.
Okay.
But you're not creating new positions?
No, it's same position
Yeah,
of
okay.
full-time replacement, yes.
Okay.
All right, what's your
I'll move that we
pleasure?
approve the aforementioned personnel at the listed rates of pay and positions.
I'll second.
Got a second? Call roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, what's Southern Illinois Select Volleyball Club?
Prior to that on the agenda, we've got job classification additions.
Got number B.
And that's existing employees to have added job classifications that includes Tyler Oakley for cafe at $9 an hour, and he's currently front desk attendant. And that will allow him to work in that same area, and we always hire currently for both positions now. And then Nicole Fisher, also in cafe at $9 an hour. She's also currently front desk attendant. The third is Leanne Jones, who's currently a lifeguard and swim instructor, and we're asking for an additional job classification for her, front desk attendant at $9 an hour and cafe at $9 an hour. These are all existing job classifications, not a new job classification, but it's new for these staff that are currently with us.
Okay, any comment or question? What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made, second, call roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Okay, and then on an annual basis, of course, we do our Southern Illinois Select Volleyball Club season. And as last year, this year as well, we have request for approval of a budgeted uniform purchase not to exceed $7,000. That's less than $7,000. And we've got a quote right now for estimated number of players within the volleyball club of 6,800, a little bit over 6,800. So that request in $7,000 or less of what's already budgeted. That program has a net revenue of a budgeted of $5,450.
Any comment or question?
No.
What's your pleasure?
My motion to approve.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chris. All right. Need to establish date for a public hearing for tax increment district.
These are two ordinances, the first being to amend the TIF District 5, and that would be the first one, and that would, the public hearing date for TIF District 5 would be scheduled for January 8th at 5:30, and this would be an amendment for, and we commonly call TIF District 5 the Pepsi TIF. It would be expanding some of the project cost and also some of the boundaries of that TIF. And there'll be a map for the council as, that will be done by Clarendon Ziegler, and that will be provided, I believe, Alice, it's already in the books you handed out?
Yes.
Yes. You probably have a tentative project book that was in your mailboxes on that TIF, and the map of that proposed boundary extension is in that booklet.
Okay, it looks like it's formality we need to go through.
That'd be my motion to approve ordinance 3408.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Butler?
Yay. Okay, same thing for the Marion Hill View TIF district.
This would also be, on the last page, it has the, explains the date for that. Public hearing would be January 8th, which is a Thursday, I believe, at 6 p.m. So both of those public hearings would be the same day. And the Hillview TIF is the one that commonly would be known as the Woolahan property. And this encompasses and pulls in the new strip mall that is on 17th Street that is being done by Basie and Basie. And the reason for that is because they're having a lot of infrastructure costs, and that will make their project, it's a strip mall with about 7 units, and it'll be very nice. It's on the back of the Drury property. So this would be a extension of that TIF.
Okay, the public hearing is set for both January the 8th. The first would be at 5:30, and the second would be at 6. Okay,
I'll make that.
Second.
what's your pleasure?
Got a motion and a
Motion.
second. We got a motion
Got it.
and a second.
Yes.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler?
Yay. I think 9 and 10 have to do with employee health insurance. We need to take that into executive session. Item 11, purchase property, Carbon and Morgan Avenue.
You want that? You want it for executive session also?
Yeah. Executive session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything we need to take up?
There's a young man come in there in the back.
He's with the hub.
He's a hubber?
That's good.
Okay. If not, then we need a motion to go into executive
I'll
session.
make that motion.
For real estate and,
Well,
Insurance, rate discussion.
okay.
real estate and health insurance.
You have a consent agenda.
And that would be personnel.
You know, let me pay my bills first.
Okay.
I feel better if we do. I make a motion, pay the monthly bills as funds become available.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Butler?
I make a motion to pay the consent agenda.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Butler?
Okay, while we're at it, do you have anything else?
Angelo?
No.
Angelo?
No.
Jim? Nope.
No.
Okay, now, the motion to go into executive session, you made the motion.
Yeah, for real estate and insurance.
Second, call roll.
Who seconded it?
Johnny?
Okay. Commissioner Ranella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Good.
Oh, that'd be
Okay.
I just need to get with you and get you a check. I just need to get with you and get you a check. Where can I